Now, for the first session of Think India, we have with us the Honorable Ambassador Dr. T.V. Nagendra Prasad, Consul General of India, San Francisco, in a fireside chat with Neville. Before taking over as Consul General of India in San Francisco, Dr. Prasad served at the Ministry of External Affairs as Joint Secretary heading the Gulf Division. He served in various positions at Indian missions, including Tehran, London, Thimphu, Bern, and Ashgabat. He was also India's ambassador to Turkmenistan from 2014 to 2018. Dr. Prasad will enlighten us about how the government of India is supporting entrepreneurship and investments into the country. Let's take a look.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am extremely pleased today to have our Ambassador, Consul General of San Francisco, His Excellency Dr. Nagendra Prasad. Thank you for being at this Think India event, which is the first event of its type. It's a virtual event, and I really thank you for spending some time with us to give us an overview of how we are progressing in the international market and how we are positioning India in order to ensure that we get more and more businesses and companies to look at India as a potential market for them. So thank you for being there on this event, sir.
Thank you very much, Neville, for this kind invitation. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So, sir, we'll start with my first question, which is that in the last week, we had our Honorable Prime Minister who was in the United States. And apart from meeting the US President Biden, he also met up with a lot of business leaders, some key business leaders and CEOs. And we have seen that a number of companies from the United States have been looking at India in the last couple of years. But this meeting was very, very important, especially the companies that he met. So would you want to just say a few words on how did these meetings go? How do you see this progress? How is the US-India corridor relationship evolving in the last couple of years?
Yes, we had a landmark visit by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji to US. Over the past few decades, India and the United States have overcome some hesitations of the history, and they have fashioned a remarkable partnership. And it is a comprehensive strategic partnership we have. And for this relationship, I must say that there is support, bipartisan support here, and also cross-party support in India. That is how we are growing, and our partnership is anchored in mutual trust, shared values. We are largest democracy, they are oldest democracy, and robust engagement of our communities. This was really reflected in Prime Minister Modi's visit, and he was accompanied by a very high-level delegation, including our External Affairs Minister, National Security Advisor, Sri Ajit Doval, and many other senior officials, including Foreign Secretary. So during this visit, he has first personal interaction with President Biden after the new dispensation took over here. Of course, he had 2 to 3 virtual interactions with President Biden before that, telephone calls, etc. And there was again personal interaction with the Vice President of US. So this visit gave a lot of opportunities at the leadership level to further strengthen our ongoing relations. Besides this, we had Quad meetings
Yes.
particularly with Japan and Australian prime ministers. So the visit itself had a lot of significance for both bilateral relations and also how to tackle the problems which world is experiencing. For example, COVID, it can be, and then climate change. You saw in the last, after the new government took over here, we had visit by the Secretary of State to India. We had Defense Secretary visiting India, and we had the reciprocal visits to US. And you saw climate change once US rejoined. We saw Mr. John Kerry, who is climate envoy, visiting India twice in the last couple of months. So that is a kind of relationship, and all the credit goes to our tech entrepreneurs, and then the knowledge partnership with the US, foreign direct investments from this side to India, and the contribution of Indian professionals, particularly in the IT domain, biotechnology, space, and other areas, which represents knowledge economy, has been appreciated by both sides. You have raised a very good point. Despite very short visit and then loaded with political meetings, Prime Minister took away time to meet the chief executive officers from USA. You know that Mr. Shantanu Narayan from Adobe had discussed the education technology, startups, innovation, and animation for youth, such kind of things, and then what prospects are there for partnership between the two countries. And he also met the first solar CEO, and India is championing the renewable energy. We have a target of 350 gigawatts of solar energy by 2030. So the first solar meeting, denotes how much importance is attached by government of India to the solar energy particularly. And you also know that India championed along with France International Solar Association. So that has been working very well, and then Prime Minister himself was there to launch it. The other company was Qualcomm. In Digital India, it's a flagship program. India is looked upon as getting more digitized, and somewhere today I read that the digital payments are one of the highest in India across the world, and this was discussed, and the partnership which can be there in 5G connectivity and all those issues were discussed. And you also know that India has been now at the forefront to manufacture mobile phones. 7 years ago, we were importing 8 billion worth US dollars, 8 billion worth mobile phones. It has come down last year to 2 billion. And added to that, we are exporting 3 billion worth mobile phones. So that is the potential in India. And they started to produce, I can tell you, even iPhone, I think, started to be produced in Chennai. And so that is a good indication that world is looking at India as a manufacturing hub. And because of the COVID, no one has realized how important is logistics and then their connectivity. So we have seen that there should be a reliable link in the supply chain. I think India fits very well into that, and government of India is putting in all the reforms possible to make it that particular reliable link in the supply chain in the world. And then also investments, the Blackstone Group, he met Prime Minister, and they have large presence already in India. And there was a clear message from all these business leaders, whoever met Prime Minister, that there is a lot of potential, and then it has to be harnessed. So that is the indication, and we are very happy that these meetings took place at right time. And despite COVID pandemic, you saw India how it has come up with several reforms in the economy to attract investments at the same time to promote India as a manufacturing hub.
Right. So I have one question. Thank you very much. Uh, would you be in a position to tell us a little bit more, just high level key initiatives that the Indian government have recently undertaken in order to encourage foreign investment, encourage business growth, keeping in mind whole COVID situation, etc. What are the initiatives? I mean, some of our companies that we talk to really talk about how is the government enabling us to do business and help grow the business. So maybe a few initiatives would be really helpful to articulate.
Neville, you know that there were several programs, like flagship programs we call started with Make in India, and as part of it, several reforms took place. Digital India, the Startup India, in 2016 we started that, and recently we started Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, self-reliant India. As part of it is not that we want to be inside, but yes, you have to integrate yourself with the world with whatever potential you have, and mainly the production-linked incentive schemes have been drawn. Government of India to various sectors. Recently, it has been extended to drones also. So that is the kind of fast pace at which we are. So productivity-linked incentive schemes have been extended from healthcare to drone technology, basically to see that there is inflow of investments in these important sectors, not only the financial wise but also technological wise. And I think Indian reforms are not just about itself, but about transforming the world around. So just to echo what Honorable Prime Minister has mentioned in his address to the United Nations, it is for the world. So the favorable policy regime of India is about, you can see the business environment, ease of doing business, etc. We have ranks above, we have gone about 37 ranks. And the government has taken many initiatives like relaxing FDI norms, foreign direct investment. The sectors used to be very, very few. Now we have gone across such defense, PSUs, like oil refineries, the energy firms, telecom, and power exchanges, stock exchanges. So these are that is what government's attitude is towards expanding these reforms and the relaxing FDI norms into various sectors in India to boost the economy and also to give a very congenial environment, business environment to the corporate leaders, corporates from the world.
Right.
For example, simplification of GST is there, and reduction of corporate tax. Recently, in the Parliament session, we have scrapped that retro tax. So it was really a concern for the world, and then it has been retrospective taxation system. It has been repealed, and then I don't think anyone will be concerned about it. So all these measures together, they reflect the government's commitment to see that the foreign direct investment flows are consistently flowing in, and also the environment, the ecosystem is well disposed to the corporate sectors around the world.
Okay, thank you. Let's move to startups. I mean, that's another flagship program of the government, especially I think Prime Minister Modi has encouraged. And I've just saw a report which talks about there are more people who have passed out of IITs today in this last few years who have started their own companies. Most IITs were basically getting hired by some of the top multinational companies, so be it Microsoft, Google, at very high pay jobs. But there has been a shift here where a lot of intellectual capital continues to invest in new ideas, and new programs within the country. So as part of that whole exercise, one has seen that you're suddenly seeing a lot of unicorns from India. You know, how do you think the government will be able to ensure that they continue to invest in that kind of a way where, because every entrepreneur who starts his own business creates jobs. The reality is that, and that's what Silicon Valley is all about. So how will the government ensure the continuity of something like that? You know, because that will fuel more and more larger companies, new entrepreneurs, therefore more job creation. So how do you think the government's going to manage the job creation part? Because they'll have to encourage these new companies, because if they start new companies, there'll be job creation. So how do you think, you may have something to say on that?
Neville, the startup India was launched in 2016,
Right.
and from since then there has been no looking back. No, we were trying by various means to improve the ecosystem for startups. Of course, we came into it very late.
Right.
The building a very robust startup ecosystem and then transforming India into a country of job creators. For example, here we always say in Bay Area, if they give one entrepreneurial visa, he comes and then adds 8 jobs. Yeah, in USA. So it is a win-win kind of situation. So after looking at that, you can see in India, you are very right. Now the youngsters who are coming out of IITs, etc., are starting their own firms, and these are all startups. And one statistic says that out of the districts, we have around 550 districts have startup units now. And how to manage these 50,000 startups? There were 50,000 in 2018. It has grown by about maybe to 65,000 by now. So many startups, and I think the around 1,300 to 1,400 tech startups are being born. Last year I believe 1,300 it was, implying that there are 2-3 tech startups are born every day in India. That is the kind of situation in India. And you rightly mentioned unicorns, and I think India added 3 unicorns every month, taking the total count to 51. Today, your favorite part is EdTech. I can see that today, 5th EdTech has become a unicorn in India. So you can see how it is growing. And I think we are the highest number of unicorns ahead of UK, around over 30, and then Germany about 18 or so. So that is the kind of enthusiasm in India. And yeah, very the ecosystem has been really made to see that startups flourish. At the same time, we are very conscious about how to scale it up to 50,000 is very huge. How you manage, how the government can support these startups. So there are discussions on how to scale up, energizing these. So though we are third largest startup place in the world, I believe the acceleration we are number one in the recent past. So so it is getting accelerated, and I think in India the startups are coming up so well because the market, a huge market you have, 1.3 billion, and then Neville, in India the middle income group is bulging, and they are the ones who get into the products manufactured by or the services provided by these tech startups. So I think they will flourish, and then it is only good times to come for startup ecosystems in India. Ministry of Commerce has come up with a separate division for startups, and there is a huge advisory council wherein we take advice from all the corners of the world, from the experts on the startups.
Right. So, Doctor, just like all the benefits which are being given for under the Make in India program, I'm not aware of this, so I'm asking this question. Maybe a lot of our companies ask. Some of the other countries, what they do is they try to. We've got a lot of tech talent. Every year you have thousands of programmers and engineers and developers which are graduating. Now all of them cannot travel overseas. So are there any programs of the government which, let's say, a company decides to start a development center over there, and the government gives them some incentive for hiring local developers, programmers, engineers, because you anyway have a very vast number of people passing out. Is there any program where the company can benefit in terms of some kind of a tax benefit or some other related stuff? I'm not aware of it, so I'm asking you this question because we get asked this question a lot of times, because some of the other ASEAN countries are offering that kind of thing, that come here, develop over here, and then we'll give you some benefit at the end of the year. You hire our talent. Like, so I just want to know if there is any program like that, just like you're making it easy for manufacturing, but especially for, let's say, companies which use the internet. They need a lot of programmers, developers, engineers, basically. Is there anything like that which they can leverage?
See, in case of startups, they have earlier had, and then in between there was some disruption. But
Yeah.
again, there is a provision for incentives,
Okay.
particularly for. I could see several youngsters taking care or utilizing those opportunities.
Okay.
Particularly incentives on taxes, particularly the incentives on while they are scaling up or through
Right.
their
Exactly. So there are some.
yes, there are incentives provided to them. As regards the talent pool, I think the startups are flourishing because you get at the, I think one of the most economic costs, you get these people, the tech talent in India. So that is what I see as the major incentive for these startups to flourish.
Right. So, Doctor, I'll also share with you one of our companies, which is Square Panda, which we invested, which deals with early child education. Is currently working, and I met the CEO who is based in the Valley yesterday over breakfast, and he is actually working. Their India operations is now working for 3 states: Uttar Pradesh, Uttaranachal, and one more state, I think Gujarat. And I know that I think the education minister or someone from the education ministry is meeting them in November to further expand that opportunity that they've created. So, and the company is based from Silicon Valley. We've played a big role in sort of helping them to grow in India, and now they are actually looking at. Earlier they were B2C, now they're looking at B2G, B2 government. They want to work with the government. They want to, provide these facilities to the government, and the government through the education system will provide it further to the kids in these states. So at least with these 3 states, there's been a lot of work which has happened. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I can separately share more later with it, and maybe even get you to meet up with the CEO here. But I'm saying that this is a true case of how we have moved a company overseas into India and helped them grow across in the Indian market, So that is
very heartening to know that. And I heard Square Panda. And
right.
I must tell you, Neville, I think he will not be disappointed. Now, the national education policy has come up.
Yes.
And in that, universalization of education, equity, so inclusivity, all those things have come. I think the government to satisfy the needs, the number of students, number of schools in India.
Yes.
So this technology, whatever way it comes, this will be very well utilized. I'm sure that CEO might be meeting our Honorable Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, who has taken over as Education Minister. Very. I think anything we can do. Certainly, I will be at the.
Thank you.
At your doorstep to help.
Thank you. So we'll just move on to last 2 questions before we conclude. As we go ahead, the Indian business scene in, let's say, in the next 5 years, what do you think? Which sector, other than education, everybody is gung go about education. Okay, we know that there are so many students. I mean, the fact that over 50% of the population is under the age of 35, which gives opportunity for not only early stage education but also middle and then of executive education. The opportunity is there. But which are the other sectors other than education in your mind you think would work very well in India? Maybe three or four, maybe you might be having in mind or whatever. Which are the ones you think will work well with, with global companies, for global companies?
See, any particular sector has to grow. First of all, the economy has to grow.
Correct.
So the World Bank estimates that 8.3% growth for India in this year, 21-22, our financial year, and several other reports also reflect same sentiments. And next few years, IMF has said that it will be India will be the world's fastest growing economy. See, when you say fastest, you have to see the size also.
Correct.
It's a large economy. Large economy growing at a fast rate really matters. And over the years, the FDI inflow has steadily increased, and I think India received about 81 billion in 2020-21. That is no COVID period as the FDA, and it was fifth largest recipient of FDA inflows during the last year. And India's exports also picked up. That's why now we have a target of 450 billion, and the exports in this particular period of our financial year have registered, I think, 47% growth. So it's all doing well. It's all sectors, Neville. Now, to your particular question, which sectors? No, see, manufacturing, healthcare, and the electronics. Particularly, we are also trying to look at the fab cities, which were we were always thinking on that, and then we are looking at that also. The investors, confidence, etc., has been doubled or tripled, you can say, when they are coming to India. We can see several companies moving to, at least I know a couple of them really having interest in shifting from somewhere else to India, and they are in the process. They are negotiating with India. So things are looking up, and then sectors is these not only education but also healthcare, particularly pharma. And you saw other day, India can manufacture 1 billion doses of vaccine to send to the world. That kind of potential it has only in India. So that we are looking at, and we are looking at electronics. We are looking at energy, renewable energy, huge scope in India to go in. Because along with manufacturing and all this, you need to have energy. So again, that industry also will pick up. And basically, we are looking at telecom, health, digital economy, renewables, and you saw the electronic cars, etc. People are now looking at India, huge market. And we are really there are several across the sectors. There will be movement once it picks up. I think there is huge scope in a way.
Right. So finally, to sign off on this session, what's your message to an international business leader as to how does he think about India? What's your message to a business leader?
You are saying think India. I'll say focus India. So and then this is the best time to reach out to India, to invest in India, to see the prospects of various sectors. The first one is growth factor. We discussed about the growth, how economic growth is fast-paced in India, and then the second one is any investor will look at the workforce. we are the youngest country. The average age is median of the age is 28, I think, 28 years as compared to any other country you take. And so there is a direct link. Whatever skills you want to know, you will get like that. I can tell you a small example. Novartis, when I was in Switzerland, went there with very limited number of seats to establish in Hyderabad. Later on, they come back after 6 or 8 months. They wanted to expand it, double it.
Wow.
So they said, "What is the reason? What is the reason?" They said simply, "It is just because we found so much pool. We asked for 500 chemical engineers. So we got 2,000 applications." So that is the kind of he can choose. So that is there. And third is the domestic market. You are going there, investing and setting up. Even in the domestic market is huge. You need not look for everything to be exported to certain corners. That is the other one. And the India's changing global profile. You know how India is on the global arena,
Right.
strengthening its own position, and then having say in various issues, including most important, whether it is COVID or climate change. India is contributing, significantly. See, Neville, it is only India who has exported 60 million doses of vaccine, all indigenously manufactured vaccines to the neighboring countries, to as far as Brazil. So that is one, and the country is ensuring the reform story. I think that will help people to see that yes, it is reforming. Like, for example, recent one I mentioned, that retroactive tax has been taken out. Looking at things, what the countries can make a congenial environment for business growth. So, so I think all these factors should be considered by investors abroad to come and invest in India. So focus India, as you say, think India, and then just think about it and then focus about it.
No, thank you very much, Doctor. I think you've really given us a opening here where you said you should convert Think India to Focus India. I think that's really good. I think all what you've just said is all very positive in terms of how business leaders should see India. It's a big consumer market. It has opportunities. The government is trying to, sort of help them. The Made in India itself is an example of how the government is helping. So I think it's all very positive. The key is all about executing, identifying the companies, and the companies. We do a lot of that, where we identify companies. We even help them doing initial visits to India. And so I thank you very much for your time today. This is going to be, as you are aware, the first Think India virtual event. Hopefully, we will see a lot more of it as we go ahead, and probably the next time around we might have something which is very focused India instead of Think India. So thank you for your time today, and I really appreciate you spending time with us and our audience today. Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Yeah.